Good evening, race fans, and welcome here to Silverstone Circuit for the very first race here for the Team Goon Squad F1 Challenge, brought to you by ANSE3D.com. Today is going to be a fantastic race, as this is going to be, obviously, the first race of a brand new series with Team Goon Squad with a brand new car, the Mercedes W12 Formula One car, as drivers are getting their qualifying laps wrapped up. I'm going to give you my short introduction. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you tonight's action, or rather today's action, depending on what part of the world you're from. In 1080p, 60 frames a second, we have some exciting action here from virtual England here at Silverstone. We have a little bit of a, I would say, untraditional-ish setup that we have going on here for our race here today. And as some of our drivers complete some of their qualifying laps, we're going to take a look at some of that time here as well, just to show you guys who is doing what and where everyone is on the track. Currently looking at Andrew Neri in the 654 machine, really making his way around the track. Folks, this is going to be a first time for me as far as broadcasting an event like this, so bear with me for all the mistakes and all the stumbling and all those other types of things. So I'm excited. This is going to be a fantastic race. We have a very, very small field here today. This series is a paid entry series, so drivers are expected, we're fronted with a $10 entry fee for the season. Drivers that are sponsored by Team Goon Squad already found themselves capable of joining the series as it is. So we have a few drivers already that are here. Daniel Beauchamp in first place currently. Andrew Neri, also from Team Goon Squad, joining us here today. And we have a few other members from Team Goon Squad that are also here in this event today, but they are not racing. One, Joseph Penn and Kai Demarest are also here in this event today as both race control and driving the safety car. Here today we do have a safety car active for today's event. So what that means, given the car that we're using for today's event, it's a little bit excuse me, I lost my train of thought there. I was looking at my messages with race control here, but I completely lost my train of thought. I apologize for that, everybody. But looks like everyone has 10 minutes total to make their way around track and make some qualifying laps. They only have to do 2 of them, so some drivers are possibly going to give it a couple more attempts here and there just to see what they can, but you only get 2 technical attempts here. That's your qualifying lap. Now, as far as setups for this series, all of our races will use a fixed setup, so everyone here is using a fixed qualifying and a fixed setup from Silverstone 2019 Grand Prix. Have a test message appearing down at the bottom of your screen. It's currently being taken up by the qualifying. That's showing at the bottom of our screens currently, but that's all right. It does let us know that race control is in fact working. Well, that is a good thing to note, as we are currently looking at Corey Sabo making his qualifying laps around the track currently. And it seems, by the looks of things, we are going to have 10 total drivers here out on track, so about half the field that we would normally expect for a real-life Formula One race. So not too shabby, and given this is our first time hosting a series like this, it's always great to have new faces, new people coming in and wanting to race here with Team Goon Squad. And that looks to be the end of Corey Sabo's qualifying run here, as he's going to stop the car and send it back to pit road, potentially. Not exactly sure. But it does not appear any other drivers are out on track. Currently, if you're looking at the timing tower, Daniel Beauchamp in first place with a 125.677. Followed closely behind Finley Fitzsimmons in second place, and Corey Sabo taking up the third place spot here on the grid for today's race. And if you're wondering what the colors mean on the timing tower, what exactly they stand for, the striped colors are the car colors, and then the green solid color is the driver that we are currently paying attention to, so that way you can have an idea of what's going on there. And that is going to wrap up our qualifying, and we now have our grid for today. Daniel Beauchamp starting it out in first place on the front row. Finley Fitzsimmons in second place, rounding out the front row here. Corey Sabo in third. Jacob Dunavant in fourth place. Derek Ekmanis in fifth place. Excuse me if I got that incorrect there. Jack Mundy in sixth place. Andrew Neri in seventh. Troy Banks in eighth place. Mark Martinez in ninth. Alex Roggenbuck in 10th place. Kai DeMorris. Oh, excuse me. That's actually not supposed to be there. The last two drivers are actually not in this race, as I mentioned prior. They are race control here today. I'm not sure why they still decided to show up in grid, but that is A-okay, as we are waiting for the rest of the cars to get their way down onto track here, get themselves lined up and ready to go for their first attempt at today's race. And this will be our heat race, our first heat race of the day, essentially 30 laps here around Silverstone, and then we will have a brief warm-up in between that to round out a 15-lap sprint at the end of the race, or to round out the race here at the end. Now, I'm very curious to see how this start here is going to go for the very small amount of drivers that we have here today. So, the competition is going to be relatively tight. There's not going to be a whole lot of room for error. And the drivers who are going to be seen as the ones to beat will be shown here going into the first race here at Silverstone for the ANSE 3D, as the lights tick away. And lights out, here we go. Daniel Beauchamp leading out the front of the field here, doing a fantastic job getting away right as soon as he possibly can. Finley Fitzsimmons standing close behind, gets very, very loose there for just a moment there. Keeps it together. Gonna keep behind that 4-5-1 of Daniel Beauchamp there. We got action forming behind these guys. Jacob Dunavant in that number 9 on the outside of Jake Mundy. Doing a fantastic job. Worked his way into third place. He's leading out in front of Jack now, who's in fourth at the moment. And it looks like Daniel Beauchamp, Finley Fitzsimmons are getting away from this field here rather quickly. Doing great work there. Now looking even for, a little bit of a lockup there just from a moment there. It looked like from Jacob Dunavant. Able to keep it together there, not letting that car get away from him. Corey Sabo we're looking at right now in the number 4. He's in 5th place currently. We got a little bit wide there. That was Jack Mundy going extremely wide for just a moment here. Let's take a look at our track map as well, just so you can all see exactly where everyone is at. If it will decide to show up here at some point today, but Corey Sabo still manages to work his way into 4th now. He's still down 1 position from where he started here today, but still doing fantastic work, trying to stick with this field here. Derek Ekmanis in the 78, 6th place at the moment. You can see the field starting to fall in line with one another. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you have to complete 3 laps before DRS becomes available. And a lot of these guys are going to be possibly depending on that little bit of extra speed here. You can see the tire compounds being used by some of these drivers. Derek Ekmanis using the medium compound tire. Behind him, Andrew Neri in the 6x4, opting to use the hard red compound tire for this race here today. But right now, as the action unfolds, looking at it, everyone making their way around the track, and it's wondering, what's the battles looking like out on track right now? Right now, Derek Ekmanis is kind of being sandwiched between Andrew Neri and Troy Banks, who's currently in 5th place, up 3 positions from where he started in this race today. So doing fantastic work there as we see Derek Ekmanis go onto the grass. A little bit wide there. That's going to cost him. Andrew Neri getting out in front of him for 6th place now. These drivers are going as hard as they possibly can. They're trying to extend these track limits as much as they can, see where they can get a little bit more speed and get away with some risky moves here. But right now, Daniel Beauchamp, you can see on the top of your screen on the left-hand side, setting the fastest lap here of the race here so far with a 128.11. Excellent work there from Daniel in that 4.51 machine. Checking back in with Corey Sabo in 4th place currently. In 4th place with the number 4 machine. That kind of threw me off there for just a moment. Doing fantastic work right now. He's just trying to stick with this field here, and you can see just how difficult it is to maintain similar patterns, similar lines, and all of that can cost you fractions of a second and ultimately affecting your race entirely. But a lot of these guys doing great work here so far, keeping this race together. Lap 3 of 30. We're still a long ways away before we see the end of this race here. So it's a matter of who is going to stick with it and stay out on top. But right now, Daniel Beauchamp seems to be the driver that is going to do that here today, doing fantastic work this entire time. Excuse me for the silence there for just a moment. Still wondering why our track map is not showing up here for us today. But aside from that, let's take a look at what the weather is like here out on track at the moment. You can see on your screen on the right-hand side, we are racing in virtual November 11th, 2021. So a little bit over a month ago, I would say. What, 20 degrees Celsius here. It's going to be a little bit colder out on track potentially for some of these drivers. You can see on the bottom of the weather information, 21 degrees Celsius. Extremely warm out on track here, but as drivers make their way around track, it'll get to that point over time. Now, you can see there as well, Daniel Beauchamp opting to use the hard compound tire for this heat race here today. Now, drivers also will have to make a pit stop sometime during this race, and they will be required to change tire compounds and use a different set of tires for this second half of this heat race here. So, drivers that have opted to start on that hard compound are going to have to find themselves either on the medium or soft, and I'm going to assume that most drivers are going to go back to the intermediate and vice versa to the hard compound for drivers that started on the intermediate. I can't imagine that anyone would want to risk using the soft compound here on a track that would be this cold. That can get a little bit interesting and be a little bit of oh, we have a battle happening here for second place out on your screen. Jacob Dunevan Finley Fitzsimmons and Corey Sabo all in a three-pack here. These drivers are going side by side at the moment, heading down the front stretch. Going into turn one, Finley Fitzsimmons on the outside. You can see there on your screen for just a moment. We're going to take a little bit of a ride on board with Finley Fitzsimmons here in second place at the moment, just to see what the action is like in that number 6 machine. The Brit Finley doing fantastic work, just trying to hold off Jacob Dunavant in that number 9 machine. But Jacob still on that attack, being very, very aggressive there. And you can see on the rear of these cars, the red light, if it's flashing, that means that they are charging that battery, hoping to get a little bit more boost from that battery, from that electrical system, to allow them to push that car just a little bit faster. And if I'm not mistaken, we are at the point where drivers are able to use DRS, if I'm not mistaken. So we should be seeing some drivers taking advantage of that here already. But Finley Fitzsimmons, now that he's worked his way up into second place and has got himself a comfortable gap from Jacob Dunavant, you can see there the drivers coming down the stretch, coming down that first DRS zone with their DRS open. Always great to see these cars out on track, racing as fantastically as they do. Now Jacob Dunavant, having been in that battle with Finley for quite some time, I'm sure that he is going to want to get back into that position. And once again, he's got Corey Sabo right on his tail in that number 4 machine. Very, very close here. We're going into the second DRS zone, and you can see Jacob getting very close to Finley. Finley not even using DRS in that zone there as well. I wonder if he just forgot or wasn't able to. And we have an incident going into... Oh, we have a car sideways out on the middle of the track through the chicane here. That's not going to be ideal. And another thing that I have to mention as well, because of the safety car that we are using for this race, that unfortunately means that the damage models for our Formula cars here tonight are essentially ineffective. This is an issue that has been noted and will be resolved for future races, but it is something that we have just decided to roll with for today, and it will be resolved in the future. So that will be another aspect of the race here today. Just getting a static view of the track here, looking at all the drivers make their way around track, looking at Daniel Beauchamp there make his way. Great work being put down by all these drivers. Lap 7 of 30 here today. And I wish I could show everyone exactly how far everyone is based on the track map, but the track map is seemingly not wanting to work here today. It is giving me a little bit of a hassle. We're going to continue to work on that, though. Let's see if we can figure something out here. But we're going to keep looking at all of the drivers that we have out on track, still battling it out. Finley Fitzsimmons, and it looks like Jacob Dunavant, having been involved in that incident, found himself down into 8th place. That is definitely not what we want to see here for the number 9 of Jacob Dunavant, having had such a great start to this race. Now, someone we haven't talked about, actually a couple drivers that we haven't mentioned here in this race so far. Alex Roggenbuck, currently in 9th place, followed by Mark Martinez in the number 29 machine in 10th place at the moment. They are finding themselves not too terribly far behind But it's at this point where once you find yourself in this position, it's definitely a lot more challenging to catch up to the rest of the field here. And given how quickly pit stops are for these cars, now I'm not exactly certain if iRacing follows the same sort of pit speed as real life Formula One, but I can imagine it's not nearly as slow as some other cars that we see here on iRacing. However, I would not bank your chances of catching up to the rest of the field on the field going into pit stop, going down pit road and going through the pit cycle. So it's a possibility, but it's definitely going to be challenging for some of these guys that have found themselves a little bit further away from the rest of the field. Troy Banks in the number 8 machine is currently defending his 5th place position from Andrew Neri in that 654 machine. The all black of that number 8 machine, looking great there on track. Trying to do what he can to just chip away at the gap between himself and Derek McManus in that number 78 machine, who's in 4th place currently. And you can see the intervals between these drivers, the distance between Troy Banks and the rest of the field here. You can see that Derek is about nearly through. Oh, what happened? Troy Banks. I am not sure what just happened there. I am a little bit confused by what we just saw there. I think Troy was involved in a little bit of an incident there. I'm not exactly certain. It happened so fast that I didn't even notice what exactly happened here. Let's... checking in with just looking at messages from race control and seeing what exactly happened there with Troy Banks. Not exactly certain what happened there, but looks like Troy Banks is going to find himself behind pit wall. That's going to be the end of his race, it would seem. Not sure if there was a real life incident that he had to step away for. I tend to. Real life is usually something that is the foe of the racing, the sim racer, so to speak. But back to the action. Daniel Beauchamp still in 1st place with an impressive gap between himself, Corey Sabo in the number 4, and Finley Fitzsimmons, who are still battling it out on track here. We have a 3-driver battle here, almost 3 wide in these Formula One cars. Absolutely fantastic to see here. These guys duking it out for 2nd place. All 3 of these guys doing fantastic work here as well. Let's get the battle box up here just to show everyone exactly just how this is unfolding here. Right now, Derek McManus up 3 positions from where he started in this race, so he's doing great work. He's just got to keep up what he's got going on. Finley Fitzsimmons has been fighting this entire time for these, at least P2. Corey Sabo as well has been working his way up into the mix and trying to find his place in that battle as well. Andrew Neri also falling closely behind. He's getting relatively closer and closer as the race progresses on here. And things are still looking extremely solid for all of these drivers here. And you can see Derek McManus and Corey Sabo just getting away from Finley Fitzsimmons. Still Corey on the tail, getting as close as he can. And we have drivers coming down pit road now actually as well. Andrew Neri coming into pit road. Handful of drivers making their way into that pit entry. Andrew Neri, Jacob Dunevan, Finley Fitzsimmons, all drivers making their way into that pit road. You can see the safety car as well also in its place. There it goes, and it does look like that iRacing does follow the similar. Oh no, you can see, oh, Jacob Dunevan getting it sideways. Car number 6 getting a drive-through. I wasn't able to see exactly what that message was in time, but looks like Finley was served a drive-through for one purpose or another. I believe, nope, never mind. That was a different driver, different person that we're thinking about there. And anywho, so it looks like Finley's possibly going to find himself coming down pit road here to serve that penalty here sometime soon. I would have to imagine. Lap 12 of 30 here. There's still a long race left to go, about halfway. Just over halfway before we see the end of this first feature race, and then we'll have a brief warm-up before our final 15-lap sprint, and that will be the end of our first race here at Silverstone for the ANSE3D.com Grand Prix. Here with Team Goon Squad, and it has been an excellent race here so far. Hopefully everyone at home, everyone watching the broadcast is enjoying the action that they're seeing. And there it is, Finley Fitzsimmons making his way down into pit road, going to serve out that penalty that he was issued by race control. But Andrew Neri going to be taking advantage of the fact that Finley Fitzsimmons coming down pit road. Andrew Neri now working his way into 4th place. Corey Sabo is now the person that he's going to be on the attack for. But Jack Mundy in the number 320 right on his tail. Getting very close to making something happen here. DRS is open on that 320 machine. Andrew Neri going to be left almost in. Is he going to be able to hold it off here? Jack Mundy was in a good position to be almost take an overtake, but doesn't look like it was going to work out in his favor for today. Andrew Neri going to get away from him. Both of these guys on the recharge here. None of them are going to have any battery power to overtake one another, or at least Jack Mundy to catch up to that 654 of Andrew Neri and make an overtake possible if one was available to him. Let's see. Jack Mundy getting a little wobbly there for just a moment. Keeping it together, though, looking great still. All of these drivers have done a fantastic job. And as I say that, Jack takes it a little bit wide there for just a moment. Jacob Dunevan closing in behind them as well, trying to catch up to these guys. Bring this field a little bit closer to one another as we cross the checkered line. You can see their times on the left-hand side of your screen. And Andrew Neri is definitely putting down some good lap times here. His last time around, a 1:29.38. Not the fastest, but not the slowest. Andrew Neri doing great work here. Daniel Beauchamp actually now making his way into pit road now. You can see there, very nice slow entry. Making sure he does not get himself served a penalty for going too fast down pit road. So now that's going to bode the opportunity for Corey Sabo to lead some laps here and potentially win the first heat race here today. But with Daniel already making his way out of pit road, is Corey Sabo going to have enough time to be able to get out in front of that 451? I don't think he's going to be able to, unfortunately, here today. And as you can see there, Daniel Beauchamp getting out in front of Corey Sabo. And actually, I'm noticing as well, Daniel's still on those hard reds, opting to stay on those hard red tires for a little bit longer. I wonder if Daniel is going to make another pit stop here and make a change to a different set of tire. Now, so that's gonna be gonna be kind of interesting. I'm going to be curious to see how that plays out here, because this heat race requires that you use 2 different compounds. So, being that we're about to the halfway point, and knowing that these hard compound tires they last a little bit longer, and he's already gone through a set of them. I'm just trying to do some math here and wondering what the strategy might possibly be here. And speaking of strategies, if we look at pit stop times for all of our drivers here, you can see the difference, sort of, in time between all of these drivers here as they make their way into pit road. Andrew Neri also now making his first pit entry as well. And there he goes. He's going to see his way out of pit road, going to try and keep it clean as well, not letting it get away from him, as we saw happen to other drivers here already. But everyone doing a great job here so far. Lap 16 of 30. The field has gotten to the point now where I believe that it's, well, it's a matter of strategy at this point. And there you can see the top left of your screen, Daniel Beauchamp pulling off an impressive 127.994. Great work happening from that 451 machine. And just close behind him, Corey Sabo in the number 4 has worked his way into second place now, having started in third this race. Corey, reigning from Ohio, going to be representing the United States here, as well as a few other drivers. Daniel Beauchamp, Finley Fitzsimmons representing the UK, and Jack Mundy. I'm actually not sure what flag that is, but I'm sure I will get a clarification of that at some point or another. Now, as I was just having a quick word with race control, they made a very good point. Tire strategy is a huge part of racing here in the Formula One series. The speed difference, the amount of grip that you have available to you with the different compounds is extremely important. So all of the drivers that we are seeing now, I am being told that the red is actually a soft compound tire here today, so my apologies for having said that it is a hard compound throughout this race. I was genuinely mistaken there. Now, back to our point here, and given that information, knowing that, exactly given the race pace that we've seen from our current race leader, Daniel Beauchamp, who has pulled off a 127.91 on those red soft tires. Corey Sabo on those medium tires still is clicking off just about, I would say, just over a second slower than our first place pole sitter at the moment. Whether or not that is I would say, whether or not that's the tire alone that is causing that, I can't say entirely. But how the car feels, how the car handles, you can see there, Corey getting a little squirrely there as well. All of these things come into play. They all have a different effect on how you drive and how the car wants to perform with you. So, given that you have to use different compounds, it's definitely very challenging, and it can be very tricky to get used to. You can see on the bottom of our screen now as well, a 5-second post-race penalty has been served to the 320 of Jack Mundy for avoidable contact with the 654 of Andrew Neri. So that'll be a penalty served post-race. It will not be something that we will see here happen during this race here. Lap 20 of 30, just 10 laps left to go here in our first heat race. Folks, now with only 10 laps left to go here, and still we have seen Daniel Beauchamp still. I apologize, Daniel, if you're watching. Daniel's still on these red soft tires at the moment. I'm still wondering what Daniel's going to do here. He still is going to have to change his compound. He's going to have to change it here at some point. He's not going to avoid it, or going to be able to avoid it here at all. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to affect here. But Corey Sabo making his way down into pit road now as well. Looks like he's serving potentially a drive-through. Nope, he's making his way into his pit box and is going to get a quick change of tires here. Back out on track he goes, third place. Derek Ekmanis now taking the second place position. Going to be out on track with those intermediate tires as well. All right, so now that I understand now. Race Control has informed me that iRacing has our tire colors flipped as far as what tire compound is what. So, red is actually soft and white is hard. That is not correct, if I'm not mistaken, in real-life Formula One. That is, it's all right. But I've also been informed that everyone has, in fact, changed tire compounds here as well. The only driver that hasn't being Derek Ekmanis. And as he makes his way down into pit road, that might change here for the number 78 driver. We're going to see him come down pit road. Daniel Beauchamp still leading this race here. Corey Sabo in third is going to have an opportunity to get his second place position back here as well. We're going to take a quick moment here to ride on board with one of our drivers here as well, just to get a feel for what it's like down on track. Riding with Corey Sabo here, you can see a little bit tight on the entry there. Went into that nice right-hander. Went into a nice long right turn into the front. Stretch across the finish line into first turn here at Silverstone. Very nice work there. Excellent work here that we're seeing from the number 4, Corey Sabo. Love watching these drivers make their way around track. It's always impressive work to see. You can get an idea for just how tricky it actually is for some of these guys to hit their marks as well as they do. Excellent work here that we're seeing from the number 4 of Corey Sabo. Derek Ekmanis following behind in the number 3 machine, or excuse me, in the number 78 in third place. Has found himself with just about 3.5 seconds to close between himself and Corey Sabo, and with only about 7 laps left to go here before we see the end of the race. At least the first heat of this race event here today. That is not going to give Corey or Derek a whole lot of time to close that gap there with Corey, but with enough patience, Derek might be able to pull it off and make it happen here today. But the driver that has really come out here and exemplified the field tonight at Silverstone, Daniel Beauchamp, has led this entire race and is currently crushing this field, getting away from second place Corey Sabo with nearly 30 seconds. Absolutely fantastic work from Daniel in that 4.5-1 machine, having gotten away from the field early on and allowing the back of the grid to sort of, well, sort themselves out. Now, Corey Sabo in the 4 machine is going to, well, all he's got to do is just keep the car clean, keep his nose clean, and stick with what he's got going on at the moment. And he will find himself with a second place podium finish for this race here today. And only 6 laps left to go before we close out the heat race for today. It is going to leave him in a good position going into our sprint race. Now, I have to mention as well, our 15-lap sprint is going to have a inverted top 8. So, meaning the top 8 drivers will be inverted for the start of our sprint race. 15 laps. Not a whole lot of time. That's going to put our race leader in 8th place for our sprint race, and that's, well, could potentially go very well or could potentially go very poorly. And as you can see as well on your screen on the top left-hand side, just for a moment there, you could see the last time around that these drivers made, and we can pull it up here on screen as well, just so everyone can see exactly. You can see Daniel Beauchamp still setting the fastest time here out on track. Corey Sabo, second fastest time, and then Derek Ekmanis with our third fastest time here for our top three drivers. So all three of these drivers doing great work here in the front of the grid. Everyone else is also doing what they possibly can and doing the best they can, trying to keep up with these guys. And all three of these drivers are incredibly fast, so gotta give credit where credit is due. It is not easy keeping up with these absolutely fast drivers here at Silverstone for the ANSE3.com Grand Prix. Alright, folks, apologies for that. Daniel Beauchamp in first place still. Corey Sabo in second. Derek Ekmanis still in third place at this point in time. 4 laps left to go here. At this point, it's all just a shootout to the end of our heat race here today. And I have to say, this field has shown that it is very willing and very competitive out here on track, as we have saw battles go nearly 3 wide. In some turns, and for our second place position. Now, we didn't exactly see it for first because Daniel Beauchamp didn't give anybody a chance to even get close to him. So the fact that Daniel comes out here tonight crushes this field here today. Great work from Daniel Beauchamp in that 451 machine. Has done a great job here this entire time, but will he be able to keep up the momentum going into the sprint race? 15 laps starting from practically the back of the grid. I was gonna make a joke there, but I'm gonna resist. I'm gonna resist. Anywho, Corey Sabo still is just trying to keep consistent, keep that time increasing between himself and the number 3 of Derek Ekmanis, and Derek is doing everything he can to try and just catch up to that number 4 of Corey Sabo. A lot of these guys are going to be on attack mode on their batteries, trying to just get everything they can out of these cars. You can see Derek Ekmanis there on recharge mode, as you can indicated by the light on the back of the car. So, with only 2 laps left to go here, well, actually 3 laps left to go at the moment, and there's still quite a bit of time left for a lot of these guys to make a mistake, make anything is possible towards the end of the race. But given that everyone has kind of found themselves in a comfortable spot, no one is really pushing anyone too aggressively, and just trying to keep this race as clean as possible. It's always great to see. I'm not sure what exactly that was I just saw, but whatever it was, it doesn't seem to be an issue. We're still racing. Everyone is still out on track, doing a great job here, trying to keep this race as close. A little bit of a lockup there from Jack Mundy in the 3-2-0. Keep things together here going into the front stretch into T1. Nice fast turn into a very, very aggressive braking zone here. It's very unique how this track is set up. I quite enjoy Silverstone. It is very fun to race at. And again, I wish I could show everyone the track map. It decided to take a break. They wanted to take a nap today, so that's unfortunate to see. But hopefully that'll be squared away for our final race, for our sprint. Lap 29 of 30, Daniel Beauchamp, the only driver that has led this entire race from first the entire time. Well, with the exception, actually no, he managed to stay out as well, even with the pit cycles. So Daniel has done fantastic work this entire race. Nearly over 30 seconds of a gap between himself and Corey Sabo in that number 4 machine. All in all, Daniel has put in work here tonight to secure his first podium position of the season, of the series. Now points are divvied up between both, I believe, the heat race as well as a sprint race. And that is correct. So for our main race points, drivers who manage to get on pole will receive an extra point, and the fastest lap during the feature will also receive an extra point. And first place receives 25 points, second and 18 points, third with 13 points, and fourth with 10, and fifth with 8 points, descending all the way down to 1 point for 10th place. And then going into the sprint race as well, you can earn all the way up from 12 to 1 point, from first to 8th place. And you can also earn extra incident points from keeping this race extremely clean, not having any incidents throughout the race here. And this is our white flag lap here at Silverstone. So this will be the end of our main race here tonight before we go into our sprint with an inverted front of the field. And that is going to make things very, very interesting for drivers here today. Daniel Beauchamp with the fastest lap here of the session, having now completed the race. That is going to be our checkered flag. And Daniel is going to take a burnout to celebrate his very first win. Here at Silverstone for the Team Goon Squad Formula One Challenge for the ANSE 3D Grand Prix here at Silverstone. Fantastic work that we have had here from all right, that is going to be the end of our first heat race here. I'm gonna wait until I can give everyone a proper race result here, if I can hopefully provide that. And as I believe we still have some drivers making their way down around track there, and there it goes. Starts up the 10-minute warm-up that we are going to have before the start of our sprint race here tonight. But here is the results of our main race tonight. Daniel Beauchamp taking home first place, Corey Sabo in second, Derek McManus in third, Jacob Dunovan in fourth, Finley Fitzsimmons in fifth, Jack Mundy in sixth, Andrew Neri in seventh, Alex Rockenbuck in eighth, Mark Martinez in 9th, Troy Banks in 10th, Joseph Penn in 11th. Excuse me, Joseph Penn is not in 11th. He is not supposed to be on this list. I keep forgetting that. Anywho, that is going to be the 10 drivers who have completed tonight's race. We've done great work tonight. We are going to have actually a quick word, potentially, with some of our drivers here if they are available, and it does seem like we might potentially be able to do that here today. So let's all right, and first up, we are going to have Derek Ekmanis come into the booth and have a quick word with us, our 3rd place finisher for our main race here tonight. And just give me one moment here, folks. All right, folks, we are actually not going to have post-race interviews here. We are going to have a quick commercial break, and we will be right back with the action. Stay tuned.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here at Daytona. The big one is out.
Alrighty, folks. Here is our grid for our sprint race, 15 laps here around Silverstone. Alex Rockenbuck in 1st place, Andrew Neri in 2nd, Jack Mundy in 3rd, Finley Fitzsimmons in 4th, Jacob Dunavan in 5th, Derek Ekmanis in 6th, Corey Sabo in 7th, Daniel Beauchamp in 8th place, Mark Martinez in 9th, and Troy Banks in 10th place, rounding out our grid here tonight for the final race. 15 laps. And we can see as well, just getting kind of a view here. We're trying to sneak one as much as I can. Getting a look at everyone's compound choice for the start of this race here today. Or at least of the sprint. And here we go. Lights are out, and here we go. Andrew Neri. Oh, we have cars crashing into one another already. Going in, not even into turn 1, right off the starting line. Andrew Neri now going to be duking it out here with Finley Fitzsimmons for 1st place. Daniel Beauchamp in 3rd, working his way impressively from that 8th place spot. Doing great work, getting around Andrew Neri in that. Oh, going a little wide. He's going to get sideways, not able to hold on to it. He's going to be facing the wrong way down the track now. Not an ideal position that Daniel wants to find himself in and at this point in time. Finley Fitzsimmons, however, 1st place, leading this race, getting away from the rest of the field, doing great work with that as well. Lap 1 of 15. Things have shaken up very, very quickly for the race winner, Daniel Beauchamp. Not an ideal way to start off our sprint race here today for this 4-5-1, but on the other hand, for Andrew Neri in the 6-5-4, doing great work for himself at this moment. He's find himself in second place at this point in time. Will he be able to stick with the number 6 of Finley Fitzsimmons? It remains to be seen, and we shall see if that holds to be true. It does not look like our track map wants to work again either, but that's all right. We'll just have to roll with it and keep things going here. Not really much we can do about that. But Andrew Neri, the safety car has been deployed as well for an incident out on track. Now we're going to get a look at the safety car here as well. Team Goon Squad official sponsored safety car here for the TGS Formula One Challenge, making its way around the track, getting the field lined back up here tonight. And let's see as well if we can get a view of exactly what through the safety car. It might have been for the incident between Daniel Beauchamp and Alex Roggenbuck. Let's take a very quick look at that and see exactly what happens here. Looking at Alex Roggenbuck here in the 70 machine. Oh, it's completely missing his rear wing. All right, yeah, he's definitely going to need to get that fixed. If he wants to be a little bit faster, that definitely looks a little funky without their rear wing. That's kind of amusing, I do have to say. But back to the live action, we are looking at the safety car at the moment. Rather, we're looking at the safety car. We're just waiting for the field here to catch up and to get themselves sorted out behind the pace car, or the safety car rather. You can see the speed of all of these drivers here, even behind the safety car, reaching 150, 200 kilometers an hour without hesitation. It's effortless for these cars here. It is quite amazing. Alright, and there we go. It looks like the driver is going to get a lap around, getting a wave around the pace car there as well. Getting himself sorted back out and behind the grid here for our rolling start. It's always great as well to have a live safety car as well that we can throw out and have drivers follow behind. It's a great effort that we have being put on here from race control and all of everyone here who helps put on this event here for Team Goon Squad. Everyone coming together to try and put on the best event that we possibly can. And I just love the sound of all those cars. It just sounds like an angry swarm of bees. I love it. the sounds of the Mercedes W12 Formula One car. This sounds absolutely impressive here in iRacing. It is great to finally have an official Formula One car, a proper Formula One car in the world of sim racing, and man, oh man, it is a blast to drive. If you are not a member or subscribed to iRacing yet, or have been tempted to get into iRacing and enjoy yourself a little Formula One, this is definitely the place to do. And if you want to join a bunch of great group of guys who love to come together and race in fun, competitive environments, Team Goon Squad might be the place for you. You can always check out the links that we have in the descriptions and see if any of our series might be something that you're interested in. And the Formula One series is not the only one that Team Goon Squad has to offer here. You can see the safety car getting a little wide there on some of these turns. We're going to get things rocking and rolling here very, very briefly. I think that means this will be the final time the pace car goes around the track with the rest of the field. This will be our last time around, if I am not mistaken. I could be wrong. Could be a mistake on my end once here again, but this will give the front of the field an opportunity to have one last stab at taking home a podium here tonight. Andrew Neri looking to possibly be one of those drivers here as well. Finley Fitzsimmons, Derek Ekmanis, Jacob Dunavant. You can see the field all wiggling behind. Doing a great job here today. It's great having all these drivers here, and there it goes. The safety car has come down into pit road, and we are racing here once again. Finley Fitzsimmons, Andrew Neri, and Derek Ekmanis going to be battling it out here for first place. These guys pushing it to the absolute limit. Andrew Neri going to get a little, seeming like he took a little bit less speed going into that first turn. Able to keep it out in first place. However, Derek Ekmanis still right on that tail of the 654 of Andrew Neri, getting very, very close here. You can see just how close the battle is forming between these guys for second place. Derek Ekmanis able to get out in front of the 654 of Andrew Neri, taking that second place away. Andrew Neri now finding himself having to defend from Jacob Dunavant, another fast driver that we have seen here throughout this race. Andrew Neri's going to have to pick up that pace, see if he can defend a little bit more. He is going to be on those soft red tires as well. Jacob on those intermediates. So it looks like Andrew is going to have a little bit more speed available to him, but Jacob is definitely probably going to have the advantage of being able to last a little bit longer, especially on these straightaways here. You can see opening up that DRS. Jacob Dunavant able to get around Andrew Neri here. Once again, I'm wondering if Jacob is not able to open DRS here at this point in time. That's definitely going to cost him a little bit of speed if he's not able to. And there he goes, actually, Andrew Neri making his way down into pit road. Unsure what the issue with the 654 is and what that requires him to come down pit road. But seemingly a couple drivers here also getting that as well. Restart the the 320 car is going to get a drive-through for a restart incident with the 451 Daniel Beauchamp. That's going to be Jack Mundy in the 320 being served a drive-through penalty. You can see making his way through pit road and actually going to make a stop as well. I don't think that's going to fully count as a drive-through. However, I do believe that you have to just drive through the pits, but it looks like the driver has gotten out of the car and is going to potentially be the end of Jack's race here today. But back out on track, Derek McManus in second place at this moment, chasing down first place Finley Fitzsimmons, getting very, very close between one another. Barely a half a second gap between these guys. Very close battle. DRS is open for the 78 of Derek McManus. He's going to close that gap even further now. But it looks like Finley's able to stay out in front of him, keep that line work. He's doing great work. Very good entry there. Impressive work. Nice, solid exit. Going to keep it together, keep that speed, momentum moving. Finley Fitzsimmons just trying to keep it away from Derek McManus in that 78 machine. Jacob Dunavant, having found himself now in third place, is going to be kind of left in the dust here between himself and the top two drivers. Behind him, Corey Sabo in that number 4 is also going to find himself kind of in his lonesome as well now. Going to be battling dirty air around him and just having to rely on the drivers out in front making mistakes and counting on that to close that gap. Lap 8 of 15. There's not going to be a whole lot of time left here before we see the end of the race here today. That's not going to leave a lot of time for these guys here. So that's going to put the pressure on a lot of these drivers. Finley Fitzsimmons, who's still trying to hold out in front of Derek McManus. I gotta say, Derek is doing great work just trying to stay on that tail of the 6 of Finley Fitzsimmons. It's definitely not easy work, and you can see Finley's trying to break that draft, trying to get away from Derek as well as they're trying to set up for that turn. And you can see Derek just trying to follow that line work of Finley Fitzsimmons, staying as close as he possibly can within reason. These guys are both doing fantastic work here. Lap 9 of 15. There is still a chance for both of these drivers to take home a first podium finish for today. But speaking of drivers that had a chance towards the beginning before the restart, and he's actually also missing his rear wing and has significant damage to the bodywork of that 451 machine. Daniel Beauchamp not having an ideal sprint race here today. Having found himself in 6th position, however, he's still pushing that car as aggressively as he can within reason. Not having that rear wing is definitely probably going to make that car a little bit more unstable in the rear more than anything. But Daniel's still doing great work, just keeping it together, just trying to stay in this race and not let that put him too far down. But still, the battle for first place is never ending at this point. These drivers have not let up an inch between one another. The time difference between these guys has stayed practically the same almost this entire time. And Jacob Dunavant, who's in 3rd place, he's still trying to close that gap between these guys, but man, these two drivers up here are both very close in time with one another, and I don't really think there's going to be a whole lot of opportunity for Jacob to be able to catch up to these guys unless they really have a catastrophic event where they They cost themselves a couple seconds, which right now it's about 3.5 seconds that Jacob would need to be able to get out in front of these guys and lead this race. And so given that in mind, oh, and as I say that, Finley takes it really, really wide. Oh, going into, I think that's the second DRS zone. Gets into the grass, and that's going to give the advantage to Derek Ekmanis, now taking first in that 78 machine. And see, that's the thing that I'm talking about. Those little mistakes, getting into the gravel, getting into the grass, spinning out, those are what's going to ultimately cost you your race and cost you your position. Those things will build up, they'll accumulate over time. Derek Ekmanis now setting the fastest lap of the sprint race here with a 128.413. I'm curious now as well what some of the drivers here are setting that don't have a rear wing. Daniel Beauchamp looking like he's setting about 1 minute 30 without that rear wing, giving him extra downforce capability, pushing that car even further down into the ground. It's incredible the amount of engineering involved in these machines, really. It is impressive the amount of work that is put into these cars and how much is required to keep them maintained. Finley Fitzsimmons goes wide, losing a little bit of time there. Not sure exactly what issue Finley is having in that number 6 machine, but keeping it together nonetheless, is trying to do what he possibly can to keep up with Derek Ekmanis. I mean, there's a couple of mistakes here and there. It definitely cost him just a little bit, but doing a great job nonetheless. Jacob Dinnevat, well, still trying to keep up with these guys. He's got Corey Sabo behind him in 4th place as well still, and these guys, all 4 of these guys have been very, very consistent. Daniel Beauchamp as well, very consistent. Unfortunately, having found himself involved in that incident at the restart of the race, and well, driving a slightly more damaged vehicle. Well, I say slightly, but a significantly more damaged vehicle than he was before. And that is definitely costing him time-wise, but even with that in mind, he's worked his way up 5 positions from where he started, even with the incident. So, Daniel making the best of it, doing what he possibly can here. Andrew Neri followed behind him in the 654. Is down 4 positions from where he started, and probably not too thrilled with where he's at the moment, having started this race in 2nd place and had quite a promising first start. Gets sideways. Oh no, gives it a little bit too much juice. And finds himself spinning around. And that's going to cost him a little bit, but with how far the field has spread out here, it's not always the worst case scenario. If you spin out, you're usually able to get yourself going again rather quickly, but like I said, it does come at a cost, and it can be very unforgiving. Lap 13 of 15 here. We have about 3 laps for the drivers to actually complete here before we see the checkered flag in the end of the race. Finley Fitzsimmons still leading this race at the moment, with Derek Ekmanis still on his tail. So with a very short window of opportunity left for these guys, it's going to be a question of, well, who's the least nervous right now? I guess it would be the way to put it. Whoever's got the steadier hands, whoever's the calmest at this point in time, having end of race jitters, as I would like to call it, definitely make or break your race. A lot of drivers, they tend to get a little nervous towards the end and just want to get it over with, and that can cause a lot of mistakes to happen right at the final lap, the final 2 laps. I've seen it time and time again, but so far everyone here is not shown many signs of that. We've seen a couple mistakes here and there, but everyone has done a very consistent job, very good work here tonight from all of the drivers that have attended the very first race, the inaugural race here at Silverstone for the ANSE 3D.com Grand Prix of Team Goon Squad Formula One Challenge. Right, and as we are nearing the final lap, we're going to see that white flag come out here very, very shortly. Finley Fitzsimmons is about halfway through the track before he crosses that line, and we see that white flag fly. Finley Fitzsimmons has led this sprint race for a good amount of time. He got into a little bit of a battle with Derek Igmanis. Was able to get away from him. Jacob Dunavant has done an incredible job as well throughout this race. All of these guys doing very solid work, staying as consistent as they possibly can. And there we go. The white flag flies. This will be our final time around the Silverstone circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons in first place still. Derek Igmanis in second. Jacob Dunavant in third. Right now it's looking to be Finley Fitzsimmons, Derek Igmanis, Jacob Dunavant. All of these drivers have done a fantastic job throughout this race here, and right now, I gotta say, being this is the first race of the year, of the season, it has been very impressive to watch, to see these drivers use the strategies that they have, given the circumstances that they've had, and try and compete here as best as they can. Everyone has done great work here tonight. And that is going to be the end of our race. The checkered flag has flown. All of our drivers making their way across the finish line. Finley Fitzsimmons spinning himself around. And we will have post-race interviews for we will do both interviews for our feature race winner and our sprint race winner. And first up, we will have Daniel Beauchamp in the booth. But first, I will make sure that everyone gets their post-race results once. I believe that's going to be the conclusion of it. There it is. All right, so here is our post-race results for our feature race, our sprint race. Finley Fitzsimmons taking home first place. Derek Igmanis taking home second. Jacob Dunavant in third. Corey Sabo in fourth. Daniel Beauchamp in fifth. Andrew Neri in sixth. Mark Martinez in seventh. Alex Roggenbuck in eighth. Jack Mundy in ninth. And Troy Banks in 11th. Or rather in 10th place. Excuse me again for the two drivers that should not technically be on there. Now, let us have a quick word with our first driver of today, Daniel Beauchamp, who found himself having a little bit of a interesting final race here. Daniel, sir, do you have a read?
Hello.
Daniel, you had an incredible main feature race here tonight, and then the sprint, well, I think we both know how that went, and it definitely probably wasn't. You probably definitely weren't too happy about that, Daniel. What kind of was running through your head when that incident happened on the restart?
I mean, when the incident happened, I don't know. As we're getting ready to go, I think the guys at the front Finley had already started the race, and I don't know why, but two guys in front of me were going very slow through the last corner. Still, there was maybe like a five car gap in front of them, and we sort of started to go, and then we slowed down again, and Jack didn't react quickly enough to slow down, so he hit the back of me. That's what I saw, but I need to look at the replay.
Yeah, it happened so fast on my end that I wasn't able to catch it from start to finish. But yeah, Daniel, definitely did not seem to be ideal for yourself because it looked promising that you were going to be able to work your way up into the top three. You did actually crack your way into there for just a moment before you found yourself in that incident. Man. Yeah, Daniel, having won the feature, though, however, for the first race of this series, how are you feeling going forward in the rest of the season?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like something clicked today. Definitely. I wasn't that fast in comparison to Corey, at least. As I've raced him in a few practice races this week, so I was pretty happy to be able to pull out such a gap in my first stint on the softs. That I was able to pit, and I was still in P1. That was a big thing.
yeah, that was a great race you had, Daniel. It was very impressive watching you. You pulled nearly, I think it was almost 30 seconds, just over 30 seconds actually, between yourself and Corey at the end of the feature race. So great work, Daniel. Honestly, very good work.
Thank
Now,
you.
going next week into Spa, what are your thoughts on that circuit, and what do you expect, having seen what happened here at Silverstone today?
Well, I expect it'll be really fun because Spa's a really nice track. I've already done it with this car, so yeah, I already know it's a load of fun. Can be a bit difficult at the start, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I expect to just try my best. I'm not sure if I'm necessarily going to be as dominant as this week. We'll see.
All right, Daniel. Well, with that in mind, having taken home a first place podium for the main feature, is there anyone at home, anyone watching the broadcast you want to give a shout out to or thank before you head out tonight?
I just want to give a shout out to Joe Penn for his amazing safety car work. It was top class.
Absolutely, Daniel. Thank you for coming out here and talking with me in the booth tonight. I look forward to seeing you in the next race at Spa.
Yeah, man. Thank you for your commentary. See ya.
Absolutely. See you, Daniel. All right, folks. Up next in the booth, it is our final driver for the night, Finley Fitzsimmons, our winner of the sprint race. Finley, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm really happy about that win. I'm really happy I was able to please the fans today. Yeah, especially because I felt we were a bit wrong done during the 30-lap feature race. We managed to bounce back and still win the sprint race. So yeah, it was a pretty good weekend, I think, overall.
Absolutely, Finley. Now, the feature, the main race that we had here tonight, you definitely look very, very promising and on track, and it's unfortunate to see how far the grid kind of spreads out once everyone gets settled on their pace time. But yeah, like you said, Finn, you came into the sprint race and you were given an opportunity to lead, and you took it. You took it and you ran with it. You had some competition though with Derek Ekmanis in that number 78 machine. How was it battling with him, you guys were extremely close to one another. Nearly, I think it was within a second, about a half a second gap that you had between each other.
Yeah, it was a constant DRS battle. He was getting very close down the straights, and it was really just making sure those exits down the straights were spot on, just to make sure to keep them behind. But yeah, even though I was ahead, it was definitely a worrying sight seeing a car that close in your rearview mirror constantly. It definitely made an effect on my driving, I think.
Absolutely. I know that if I was the one behind the wheel, I'd be a little bit nervous too. Definitely seemed like Derek is a very fast driver here. Now, Finley,
Indeed.
going forward next week into Spa, what are your expectations there, and are you confident going into next week?
I think it's about the championship mindset, really. It's all about how you back from bounce back from things that went wrong, and I think I'll definitely be able to prove that today, especially with the home energy being from the UK as well. Hopefully, we can carry this energy through to Spa. In the pre-season race, had some pace, so we'll see if we can build on that. And yeah, hopefully we carry on the energy to next week.
Absolutely, Finley. Yeah, it looks, you guys are looking very promising there on track, and hopefully we'll see the six machine move forward throughout the championship and be able to be in contention towards the end of the season. Now, Finley, before I let you go here tonight, is there anyone at home, anyone watching the broadcast that you want to give a shout out to or thank before you head out here tonight?
Of course, I'd like to thank the fans from the UK as well, and also Jack for giving me a bit of race engineering after he retired from the race to help me with that win. Also, I haven't been running the scheme today, obviously, because we can't use custom paints on the Mercedes. However, in the All-American ARCA series, I'm not sure if you saw, but I was running a Cancer Research UK livery. I'd like to give a massive thanks to them. Of course, they do brilliant work fighting for cures for cancers, and I think that I still want to make them known out there. And if anyone has any spare money, they're definitely open.
Absolutely. Finley, it's great having your support and having you out here with us here for the Team Goon Squad Formula One Challenge. Congratulations on your first podium for the sprint race for the first season here today. Finley, I look forward to seeing you in future races, and hopefully we get to talk again in the future.
Thank you very much.
All right, Finley, you have a great night.
You too.
All right, everyone, that is Finley out of the booth in the number 6 machine. That is going to wrap up our post-race interviews today. Folks, we had some fantastic racing here at the ANSE 3D Grand Prix. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing tonight's action. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, so you can catch all the action that we have here at Team Goon Squad throughout the week, as well as catch next week's Formula One action at Spa. I hope you all enjoyed today's action, and I hope you all look forward to the next one. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all at Spa.